Hey everybody, welcome. Hi Sharon. Can y'all give me a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, please? Give me a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. All right, thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. It is 6:00 p.m. So I want to be punctual and I want to get you all out of here as quickly as possible while learning as much as possible. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is B. Marquita, aka the Backdrop Plug, and I help event planners, party planners, and crafters to build their backdrop empires without having to purchase expensive software or design software subscriptions or equipment. So today we're going to do a really quick tutorial Tuesday. I have an order that I need to fulfill in my actual Shopify store. So if you are in the Backdrop Blueprint membership or the CEO tier, which is the one-time fee, but you don't get continued support. You only get a couple of weeks with that one-time payment. But if you're in the membership, you get support and you get all of this training as long as you are a member and you do not cancel. So I show you Shopify in both of those two groups. So in those two groups, you'll learn how to set up your Shopify store and also how to set up your order forms so that you can start taking orders online. So that's why you see this screen. So I use the free software called GIMP, GIMP. And for those of you who are new to me, you can find that by going to gimp.org, and then you can go to download and you can install it based on your computer. You will need a laptop or a desktop with Windows or Mac. So no phones, tablets, or Chromebooks. I know Chromebooks have Windows, but it does not work well with this software. So in order to see how to set up GIMP, you can get the Backdrop Starter Kit, which I offer for free. You can get that by going to backdropstarterkit.com, backdropstarterkit.com, and it'll show you how to set up your GIMP software to look like what I'm about to show you right now. So I'm going to open my GIMP software. And as you can see, I'm currently using GIMP 2.10 on my HP computer. And this is how my screen looks once I have everything set up based off of how I tell you to set it up in the Backdrop Starter Kit and all of my other courses as well. I have you set it up the same way so that it's easy to follow. So this person has let me see, I forgot that fast. So she ordered accidentally a 6x6. I haven't gone in to change it yet because she actually wanted a 6x8 and she wanted to be vinyl. So that's how we're going to pull up our template or our design space. So starting out, you won't have templates. You'll have to create those. I teach you how to do those in the course. Otherwise, you can just start fresh and just open a design canvas. That's the dimensions of what you're needing. So we're going to have to open a 6,000 pixel by an 8,000 height pixel. So my rule of thumb when designing backdrops is to multiply each dimension by 1,000 pixels. And that's if you're doing a rectangle. Now, if you're doing a square, I recommend just doing 6,000 by 6,000, and it works for any size, whether you do a 2x2, 3x3, 6x6, 7x7, 8x8. So I'm going to open my template. I'm going to go to File, Open. And then I'm going to find where I have my template saved. So we want to do 6 by 8, and we want it more tall than wide. So that's why I named it 6 by 8 tall. Or if you don't have your template yet, you can go to Create or File, New, and you can go in and type your dimensions that way and just make sure that pixel is selected. So that was File, New. Multiply the dimension by 1000 on each side. Make sure the pixels is selected, click OK. And then you'll have a screen that looks similar to this one. But I use a template because I have my watermark saved. And that's actually a logo. Change the name of that real quick. So here's my logo. If you see where I'm circling, it's really small down in that corner. And I also have my watermark. So this is what I place over my finished design when I send it to my customers. And of course, I remove it when it's time to print. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this as my naming convention is the customer's name underscore the type of material of the backdrop, which is going to be vinyl, the size, so 6 by 8, I do width by height, and then I say whether it's going to need a pole pocket or not. And then sometimes if I remember, I also put if there's a name that they have that they want to put on there. As you can see here on my order form, it's not, it just says happy 60th birthday, so there's no name. So I won't need to do it here unless I do like 60th birthday. So just so I know, because I have repeat customers and I don't want to confuse it with the previous order. So if there was a name, let's say her name was Rebecca, I would just put at the end, Rebecca. If I can spell. But since she's not providing a name, I'm just going to put 60th birthday. And then you want to save it as this XCF file. And you want to save it to the folder wherever you save your designs. So on my desktop, I have an open orders folder, and I just save it there. And let me check to make sure that I am live streaming on Facebook. Just a second. Okay, yes, I am. And I have some viewers. I almost forgot to look for the comments. So hi, everybody on Facebook. Let's see, we got Sierra, Naja, Cassandra. Let me see about YouTube real quick. Y'all should see me with all my devices set up, so just a second. And I'm gonna try to pay attention to, okay. All right, so we got some people live on YouTube as well. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Marquita. All right, so continuing on, thanks for tuning in. So we've named it, or actually before we continue, any questions on setting up your design canvas? So this is opening the design canvas, the 6,000 by the 8,000. If you don't have any questions, give me a 2 so I can know whether or not to continue. If you do have a question, go ahead and type it. But otherwise, I'm looking for 2s to let me know that you're good to go. All right, so I'm seeing some 2s. So I'm going to go back to Shopify, and I also have a section where people can upload images for their order. So they can upload a picture of whoever they want on the backdrop, as well as design inspiration. She didn't have any inspiration here. I'm pretty much knowing what she wants. I work with her a lot. This isn't her first rodeo with me, so we work really well together. I kind of know her style. But here's the picture she wants to use. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and copy this image. I don't necessarily need to save it to my computer. And then I'm going to go back to GIMP. And because I copied it, I now need to paste it into GIMP. So in order to paste, hey Lisa, in order to paste, we're going to go to edit. We're going to scroll down, bypass just the word paste and paste in place, paste into selection, blah, 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 blah. We want to go to paste as new layer because we want to create a new layer over here in our layers window so that we can work on our design. So edit, paste as new layer. So there is the image. And I forgot to share this to my personal Facebook page. Y'all give me a second. I'm a little rusty. I haven't been here in a while. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Log out. Get a drink of water. I'll be back, I promise. I just realized I didn't share it to my profile page. Oh, I'm actually live on there too. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Hey, y'all on the other Facebook. I'm so sorry. I'm using this new software, so I'm excited that it's working. So, okay. Now I feel like I need to open up another device. So give me just a second again, because I want to see everybody chatting and talking back to me. Let's see here. Where is Facebook on my iPad? I'll have this together next time, I promise. So Facebook. Maybe iPad. Okay, well, I'm waiting on that to open up. I'm going to continue. So here's our image. As you can see, it says we definitely just paste this layer. If you want, you can go in by clicking on it, double clicking on it, and naming it whatever you want to name it. You don't have to if you don't think you'll, forget which layer is which. You can always see which one it is too by just clicking on different layers and then a highlight around that layer. So as you can see, that's like super duper small. So we're going to scale it using our scale tool. So the scale tool looks like a small square pointing down to the right to a larger square. So click on that. And then we're just going to click on this layer that we have selected. And you can either drag the corners or one of the sides. You want to make sure that these links are locked together, because if not, let's say it wasn't locked together, it's going to distort your image, and we don't want that to happen. So let's reset, lock it back, and you can drag the corners or the sides or the top and bottom, or you can go here and type in a number, or you can use your up and down arrows to change the size that way as well. For me, it's just a lot faster when I drag the corners and then just click on scale. So any questions on that so far? I don't see any questions yet. Let me turn down. All right, I got you all open on. Let me turn down. Oh, wait a minute. All right, I got you all open on. Okay, sorry about that. Got you all open on my profile page, my business page, and on YouTube. So perfect. Okay, now we'll continue and not hold you up any longer. So no question. Oh, she says, yes, I get stuck here. So what exactly, Sharon, do you get stuck with when you say you get stuck here? Okay, Mom might not heard her type that. I'm going to go ahead and continue. So the next thing I want to do is crop this because as you can see, this is a screenshot. I don't need all this extra chat box information. I like to keep everything as simple and neat as possible. So I'm going to use the crop tool, which looks like two right angles crossed over each other to make a square. So you're going to click on that. And it's very important that in that submenu that pops up, that you select current layer only. Make sure that that is selected. Because if not, you're gonna, when you crop, just click and drag outside of the area you want it to be. Once you crop it, hit enter, it's going to crop your entire design space. So we don't want that to happen. So we're gonna go to edit, undo, click on current layer only, and then we're gonna go in and crop the part of the image that we want to keep. You can drag each side. If you don't get it to where you want it to be, hit enter to crop. Sharon says trying to proceed or trying to come out of it and proceed to next. When you're scaling, is that what you're talking about? Okay, so when you're scaling, you just want to go in, drag the corners or the edges or whatever your dimensions that are that you type in or use up and down arrows for. And then when you're done, you just click on scale. So you may be trying to just click out of it, but you have to click on the actual word scale first. So I'm hoping that's what your issue is. It's a quick resolution. All right, so now you can see that there's a background behind her. I don't like working with backgrounds when I'm creating designs. To me, it's just a little tacky. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna use our free select tool, which looks like a lasso. Click on that. And we're gonna zoom in because the more you zoom, the better your background removal will be because it won't have so many harsh lines and you can get really into the details once you zoom in. So to zoom in, I just hold down Shift on my keyboard and hit the plus key until I zoom into where I want to be. Usually about 5 or 6 times works for me, but you can go bigger or smaller or zoom in more or less. But the goal here is to just pick a side or a corner to start with. You can see that our lasso tool is selected because our icon It's showing a lasso. So you just want to click on your starting point, and you want to do just inside of the edge of the foreground, aka the body of the image. So to select your foreground, you're just going to click. You don't have to drag it, so just click and move your mouse cursor to the next position. So move, click, move, click. So if that's making sense to you all, just type in move, click in the chat. And you can hover over each position and you can scroll around so that you're making sure you're staying in the edges. So move, click. Now, if we weren't as zoomed in as I am now, your lines would be a lot harsher and it's not going to look like a clean removal. Now you can use remove.bg. However, I'm not the biggest fan of it because sometimes it removes too much of your foreground, or sometimes it doesn't remove enough of the background. So you end up having to clean it up anyway. So sometimes it does work, but for the majority of the time for me, it does not do what I needed to do without me having to go in and clean it up. So we're just moving and clicking. Again, you want to stay just inside of the edge. If you messed up, all you have to do is click the point and drag it to where you want it to be. But I say stay inside of the edge. I'm not really going to worry about the spikes in her hair. Minor detail. The reason I stay inside of the edges is because if you don't, it's going to create like this glow effect because it's going to be pulling from the background colors. So it's going to be like this glow effect that's the same color as the background. And we don't want that to happen. So I'm literally just moving and clicking, scrolling around my design canvas, using my scroll bars. And because I'm so OCD, I like to have my points really close together so that it looks cleaner. And this is actually one of my favorite parts of designing because I think that a clean picture makes your design look a whole lot better. So moving, clicking, going all the way back around to that starting point. I don't want this rail, so I'm just gonna bring that down. And you want to go back to your starting point. Once you click on your starting point, you'll see these marching ants. So I'm going to zoom out by hitting the minus key on my keyboard. So you'll see that this is my selection. So here are the marching ants, or the moving dotted line. So this is the actual selection that's inside of the marching ants. We don't want to remove this. We want to remove the background, remember? Because if we go and hit delete, it's going to remove the actual selection, and we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to undo. So in order to remove the background, there's an extra step that we have to take, and that's going to select, invert, and now you can see that the marching ants go around the edge of the image, not just where we did our free select. Now we can hit delete on our keyboard or go to edit clear. So I know people on Mac, you have to take that extra step by going to edit clear. But if you're on a Windows computer, you can just hit delete on your keyboard and it's going to delete. Now, if it removes the background in a solid color, comes to where it removed it, That's because you have to take another step. So in order to do that, you just right click on the layer and you want to scroll down until you see alpha or add alpha channel. And if it's grayed out, you're good to go. That means it's gonna remove with a transparent fill. If it's not grayed out, go ahead and click on that to gray it out and then hit delete again or do edit clear again. And then I'm going to go to select none to turn off the selection so that we don't modify it on accident. Select none, and then it's going to turn off the margin ends. Give me a 3 if that makes sense. If not, go ahead and put your questions in the chat. Latrice, I am using GIMP, G-I-M-P. That is the software, the free software that I use in all of my courses. If you want to get the backdrop starter kit, it is free and it'll show you how to set up the software to look like my screen. Yes, Sierra, this is more for people who are a little more graphically inclined. Canva is like a shortcut, but I like this because it's like a Photoshop alternative, like one of the closest ones, and you can do a little more detail with your designs. I mean, but if you want to use Canva, do your thing, but I teach GIMP in my courses. You're welcome, Latrice. All right, we got our 3s. So what we're going to do next, I'm going to zoom back in, Shift plus. Make sure I'm clicked on the screen. There we go. And I got a little more to remove. So right inside of her earrings and the right inside of her arm. So with our free select tool still active, we're going to do the same thing. Move, click, and just select the area that we want to remove. Go to the starting point. This is the selection we actually want to remove, so we don't have to invert. Just click on delete. Select none. Let's go back up. Do the same thing for this background behind her earrings. Her earrings are matching the background almost, but that's fine. Starting point, delete. Select none, and let's do the other one. Select none, and let's zoom back out. So here's our image so far. Let's go ahead and save because you want to save periodically. Because sometimes GIMP will crash. And you want to make sure that once you open it back up, you are in the correct starting spot. So file, save. All right. So the wording is happy birthday, happy 60th birthday, and the color scheme is purple, black, and gold. So I'm going to show you how to add your text. Or actually, no, let's do the background first. So there are many, many places that you can find backgrounds. My favorite is PNG Tree, PNG Tree, like a tree outside.com. I have the lifetime membership, so I can download as many PNGs or graphics as I need on a daily basis. But if you do not have a membership, you can get up to 2 per day. You can download up to 2 per day. So if you do want to get this program or membership, I have an affiliate link. So if you want to sign up through me, I get a little kickback. In all honesty, I would love for you to sign up with me. You can sign up with me by going to png.me thebackdropplug.com. So P is in Paul, N is in Nancy, G is in George, dot thebackdropplug.com. So moving on, this is what it looks like. So you can just start typing in stuff, what you're searching for. As you can see, this is the home screen right now. This is what's popular right now. But I just need a black background because that's what I'm going to do for the background. So I just typed in black. You'll see all the PNG images that it's going to pull up. But if you go to this drop down menu, right beside where I started typing, you can go to backgrounds and select backgrounds. And then you can see all the different black backgrounds that they have. So I think that's pretty neat. Oh, that's going to be cute for Memorial. Not that I'm doing one right now, but that's going to be cute. This is going to be simple, so I'm going to use like this black background texture because the rest of my design is going to be more detailed, so I don't need too much going on in the background for this design. So I'm just going to click on it. Go to download JPG. Now, most of the backgrounds are JPG files versus PNG. So it's just a little more compressed. It's a smaller file. Download. And then you'll see in this bottom left corner where it's downloading. And it downloaded pretty quickly. And then I'm going to find something purple and gold for the graphic. So let's just type in purple, gold. You see all these? I'm just browsing so y'all can see what kind of things pop up on PNG Tree. But I'm going to go back to PNG images now. But I just want to show y'all the different things. So I'm just scrolling so you can see. And I want to go download crazy. So that's pretty much what happens. Now my computer's going slow. So let me focus. This is actually the one I need. Download PNG. It's going to download here in the bottom left corner. So now I can close out of these extra pages. And then I'm going to go back to GIMP. And I'm going to insert my background layer first. So I'm going to click on the very bottom layer. Oh, let me see if anybody has questions. I'm sorry. Did anybody have questions about downloading from PNG Tree? Give me a 4 if PNG Tree made sense. If not, go ahead and type it in the chat. Your question. Hey, Siani, or Siani's mom. Hey, Zumba with Shanita. I think it's Shanita. Sorry if I jacked it up. All right, we got some 4s. We're making sense. So don't hesitate to ask your questions now if you have questions. But moving on. So because those are downloads, we cannot do a copy and paste because you downloaded those images to your computer. And you can move them to a folder, to a graphics folder later. But for now, I'm just going to keep moving. I'm going to go to File, Open as Layers. Because remember, we want to do everything as a layer. We're going to go to our download folder, whatever yours may be. I'm gonna find the most recent. There we go. That's the most recent. Click on open. Actually, I'm going to open both of those at the same time. So to do that, I'm going to hold down my control key on my keyboard, or command if you're on Mac. Hold it down and click on the other one you want to select as well. And click on open. Okay. This black background, we can rename it by double clicking. Black, or I just name it background. And we can move this layer down, because right now you can see it's just a small layer right now. So we can click and drag it to move it down to the very bottom, because this is going to be our background. And like we did before, we're going to scale again. Scale tool. Click and drag it to the corners. Or if you know the size, this is actually perfect size. Everything's just working out today, huh? So let's say we want to type in size. We know our width is 6,000 because it's 6 feet. And then hit the tab key. And because this is locked, our aspect ratio is automatically going to change. And it's okay if this is not exactly 8,000 feet in this case. Long as it fits your entire design canvas, that is fine. Click on scale. And then you can see it's not centered or aligned to the middle. So we're going to use our fancy dancy alignment tool, which is our second tool next to our move tool. And then we're just going to click on this layer. You know that it's selected with the alignment tool because there's going to be a square in each of the 4 corners. And then we're going to go in our submenu that pops up, we're going to go to center and then middle. So now it's perfectly centered. Any questions on the alignment tool? If that makes sense, give me a 5 in the chat. If not, go ahead and ask your questions. Give me a 5 in the chat if that makes sense. Alrighty. So we're moving on. We're going to find our other that we found on PNG tree window. You can see here's the outline to whatever size you want it to be. Click on and we can use the alignment tool to align this as well, or we can use our move tool to move it around. I haven't shown the move tool today yet. So the move tool, you just click and drag it to where you want it to be. It looks like a crossbar, and that's how you use the move tool. So let's go ahead and save so we don't lose our work. It's been a minute. Okay. And the next thing I want to change this color because that's a little light of a purple than what I'm wanting. I gotta change position. I'm sitting Indian style. Okay, so I'm gonna change this. Y'all gonna get some advanced training today. We want to go to colors. And then we're gonna go to hue saturation. And then you can go in and drag these bars and play around with the color. Okay. The color I want to change is closer, and then drag my hue around. So that's all that changes. Before, when I changed it without selecting anything here in our color wheel, it changed the whole image, including the gold parts. I want to keep the gold and change the purple. So that's a deeper purple. If I want to go deeper, I can turn down the lightness. And that's more of the color purple that I'm looking for. So once you get it to how you want it to be, you just click on OK. So all I did was go to the layer that I wanted to change, go to colors in our menu, hue saturation, and play around with the colors that you want to change and click on OK. Siani's mom, I'm using GIMP, G-I-M-P. You can find it at gimp.org. Or you can get your backdrop starter kit, and I'll walk you through how to set it up to look like a screen by going to backdropstarterkit.com. All right, so we got the color changed. Next, let's go ahead and add some text to this thing. Actually, I want to change this because this isn't centered to me. So what I'm going to do with this layer selected, I'm going to go to layer, crop the content, and just shrink that down so that it fits exactly around the edges. It had a little extra space. Then I'm going to scale it again. I can use the alignment tool to center it or move it. So that's the move tool, alignment tool, center middle. Do it that way as well. Okay, now let's add some text. So all I wanted to say is happy 60th birthday. So I'm just going to copy this. And then we're going to scroll down. You're welcome. We're going to scroll down in our layers. Excuse me, not our layers window, our tools window. And we're going to go down to this black bolded capital A, which is the text tool. Click on that. And then our sub menu is going to pop up for all the tools that we can, sub tools that we can use for our text tool. So to start creating your text, you can go in here and click in this text box and select the font that you want to use. You can scroll through to see which ones are installed on your computer. So you may see a lot of fonts that you don't see on your computer. That means you're going to have to go in and find those fonts and download them and install them to your computer. I want to stay with this magenta brush. And then I don't necessarily worry about the size starting out because that's always going to depend on your actual font style as well as your canvas size. So I just kind of change it once I start typing in there. So what you want to do with your text layer, text tool, I don't know why I keep saying layer, your text tool selected, click inside of your canvas, your design canvas, and you'll see a little pop-up that has specifics of this actual text layer, and then go V to paste it. And as you can see here is the size 9 using this particular font. But we can highlight it and increase the font by hitting the up, or the size of the font by hitting the up to decrease the down arrow so you can see the different sizes. And I actually, now that I'm looking at it, I wanted to say happy at the top, birthday at the bottom, and then I want the 60 to be more towards the middle of the image. So what I'm going to do is, with this layer selected, go over here and select your text layer. We can right click and go to duplicate layer. You can also go down here to the very bottom and duplicate it as well. So now we have two text layers, but we're going to move one down. The move tool and just move it towards the bottom. And text tool and edit this first one. So text tool, just click inside of this text layer, and I want this to actually be lowercase. Delete to remove everything else. I'm gonna go down to this layer. Out of to the other side of the B and type in birthday. This text big. Clicking, double clicking to highlight it all. It, by hitting estimate of how. Okay. All right. So apparently my internet just did something weird. Give me a 6 in the chat if you can still see and hear me. It just blacked out for a second. All right. Okay. We got a 6. We're still here. Okay. So I just typed in 1200 just to see, and it actually looks good. I'm going to use my move tool to move it up. And I'm going to do happy in the same size. So I'm going to use my text tool, highlight it, type in 1200, enter, and there's our happy. So as you can see, it is, our text layers are behind her image. We don't want that to be the case. And actually what I'm going to do is, I want to rotate this text because I do like the standard straight across. Let's do some. So to move the text or rotate the text layers, we're going to use our rotate tool. I told you y'all getting a lot of advanced training today. So the membership, so we can get these replays, because with curved arrows around each other. And then you just click on the layer that you want to rotate. Select it. So just click on the corner. I'm so sorry, y'all. My internet is trash. To a different internet from my hotspot. Let's see if that's better. All right. I'm so sorry. So give me a 7 if you're still here. You can see me or not see me, see my screen and hear me. All right, we got some 7s. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to call my provider so I can get some better internet. But anyway, so let me start over. So the row or you can use this bar to rotate. So I'm actually going to go in and copy this. So I'm going to highlight this angle so I can do the same thing to the birthday layer and click on rotate. So all I did was highlight, click Control C on my keyboard. I have 2 different layers that I want to do this to. Rotate, and now this is rotated. Then on birthday, I want to do the same thing. So I'm going to select the birthday layer, click on rotate. And then here in the angle, I'm going to paste it so that our angles match. So they both are rotated now. Use the move tool to move them around. And I'm actually going to shrink this image a little bit because she's taking up a lot of space, as you can see. So I'm going to click on this layer, use our scale tool to bring it back in. So what looks good, click on the scale. And let me crop the content. So layer, crop the content. Let's do some alignment to the center. There we go. And then we want to move her image behind the text so we can see the actual wording. So all you have to do is click on the layer you want to move, click and drag it down where you want to move it. So we want it behind the text, but in front of our little burst of purple. Or you can also use the up and down arrows here in our layers window to move up and down for that layer. Cool beans? All right. You can move these around some more to what looks good to you. I'm actually going to move that up above the happy. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is add some outlines and some shadow to our text, and then add our 60. And then we're going to modify her image just a little more so that it doesn't look weird with our triangles here in the background. So let's go ahead and save. And you could also change the color of the text as well. And I'll show you, I guess I can show you how to do that. Since we're here, let me go to the text layer. To change it to like the shades of purple, we're gonna go to our color palette here. You see my foreground color right now is white. If I click on it, it'll get this pop up. And if you go over here to the right side of the screen, beside HTML notation, you can click on this eyedropper tool And you can click anywhere on your screen and select the color that you want. So when I click there, you see this purple popped up, and then you can click on OK. Use your bucket fill tool, which looks like a bucket of paint, literally. And you can click inside of your text layers to change the colors. Sometimes you have to click multiple letters if you don't have your letters, if your letters are not connected. As you can see, all of my letters are connected because it's cursive. So sometimes you may have to go in and do it each letter, or you can change the color before you do all the rotations and all that kind of stuff so that it's easier to manipulate. So let's scroll down. Let's click on the birthday layer, do the same thing here. So here's what I mean. You see how that dot isn't connected to the rest of the letters? Now I have to go in and click that too with the bucket fill tool. So now that is one way you can change the color of your text. But as you can see, it's hard to see. So me being me, if you've been following me for a while, I love, love, love outlines for text as well as shadows. So I'm gonna show you how to do that real quick. We are coming up on time, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep on going. If y'all want me to keep going, give me an 8 in the chat if you want me to keep going. If y'all want to see the good stuff, well, it's all good. All right, we got 8. So what I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna be doing, oh, never mind. I'm not even gonna confuse y'all, sorry. So let's go to the happy layer. Click on it, right click. Now we gotta get fancy. So we're gonna go alpha to selection. So click on the layer, right click, alpha to selection. Now you can see that the marching ants are around this layer. That's exactly what we want to happen. But to create an outline, we need to go to select, grow, because we want it to be bigger. And you're going to choose the size. So the sizing with this is along the same lines as the sizing for the text. When I said it depends on your canvas size as well as your font. So you're gonna have to play around with this. So let me go ahead. Mine is by default at 40 because I guess that's the last thing I use. Click on 40 or click on OK. Let's zoom in a little bit. So if this outline, you see the marching ants moved out, I'm gonna undo it so you can see. So here's a selection. Once I did select grow, the marching ants moved out a little bit. So if this looks good to you for where you want your outline to be, you can go ahead and keep on moving. If it does not, you want it to be either wider or thinner, just undo, go to select grow again. So undo, you go to edit, undo, go to select grow again, and then just type in a bigger or smaller number, depending on if you want it wider or thinner. But that looks good to me. So what I'm gonna do here, and I'm gonna do this again, so just in case you didn't catch it the first time, I'm gonna do it again with the birthday layer. Create a new layer, and then we're gonna do outline for happy. You can name it up here, layer name. But what's most important here is when you go down to the bottom, fill with should be transparency. If it is not, click on this drop down arrow and click on transparency. So in my courses, all of this is broken down in bite-sized steps and shorter videos, but this is just the live tutorial in person, so that's why it's longer. Just so you know. Click on OK. We're going to drag this layer down underneath happy because it's going to be behind our text layer. We're going to select the bucket fill tool, or I'm sorry, the color tool for the palette, and you're going to find the color that you want to change your outline to. So let's say I wanted to do black. Choose black in your window. So there's different ways that you can choose black by clicking in here in this box and dragging it all the way to the corner. Or if you know the HTML notation for black is 6 zeros, you can type it in there. Sometimes it's saved in your commonly used colors or your most recently used colors. So it just depends. Click on OK. And then with our bucket fill tool selected, click inside of those marching ants. So now there is a black outline. We're going to go to select none. And then we're going to go to layer, crop to content so that it crops just to this, because otherwise it's going to be the same size as your design canvas and it's just taking up unnecessary space. So there's our black outline. Now I'm about to do it again, just in case you missed it. So I'm literally doing the exact same thing right now, but with the birthday layer. Click on the birthday layer. Right click that thing, alpha to selection. Here's our selection now. Select grow. And my 40 was good in my case. So I'm just going to click on OK. And then I'm going to create a new layer, which is the first icon in the layers window. You can name it outline birthday or whatever you want to name it. Transparency is selected. Click OK. Move it down. And we're going to fill it in with our black. Our presets are already there. So our black is selected. Our paintbrush tool is selected, or paint bucket fill. Duh. This is the paintbrush. This is the bucket fill. Okay. Click inside of the ants. And now we have a black outline. Let's select none so we don't further manipulate that. Layer, crop to content. So we're not taking up a whole bunch of space. Let's go ahead and save. And then I said I like to do shadowing too. So what I'm going to do on our outline layers, I'm going to add shadow work. So our outline is already selected for birthday. To do shadows, we're going to go to filter or filters, scroll down to light and shadow. Well, hold on. Let me make sure that makes sense. So did outline make sense to everybody? Give me an 8 or a 9 in the chat. If not, ask your question. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get y'all out of here. I know we've gone over the hour now due to technical difficulties, but give me a 9 if that outline that I did for the black around happy birthday made sense. All right, we got a 9. If you have questions, go ahead and type them and I will see them eventually. Okay, so for our shadow, we're going to go to filters, light and shadow. And like I said, I want this on the outline layer. And to do like more of a glow effect, you want to use drop shadow. And then in our color that pops up, we're going to click in that box. Same thing. You can use your color, your eyedropper tool to select the color. And let's say I wanted it like this gold, one of these shades of gold. So I'm going to click that. That's too dark. I don't like it. So I'm going to click on the eyedropper tool again. Don't like that one either. There we go. Click on OK. So as you can see, there's already like a little soft glow coming from the outline layer. So you can increase the opacity underneath where we selected the color to make it pop out a little more. You can also, at the top, you can go in and change the direction of the shadow. So I'm just playing around with that. So you can see, I usually leave it at the default unless I'm going for something specific. And then another thing that you would like to play around with is the blur radius. And it's just gonna make the shadow wider or smaller. So that's your own preference. I like a little thinner here. Once you get it to how you want it, you just click on OK. Charmaine says yes. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna do it again for our outline of happy. So to repeat this, all you have to do is go to filters. Since we just did it, it's right here to repeat. We can click on repeat drop shadow and it's gonna do the exact same settings that we just did for the outline for birthday. Ta-da! So you see how we're making our text pop? Go ahead and save it. So we got like 2 more things and then we'll be done. So bear with me. Y'all are still here though, so y'all are enjoying it. Thank you for tuning in. I have some numbers that are gold already saved to my computer, so I'm just going to insert those. So I'm just going to go back to File, Open as Layers, as always. I'm going to go to my graphics folder. Then I'm going to go to my numbers folder. And I have gold numbers. So it pays to be really organized when it comes to backdrop design, graphic design, period. So you can find all your stuff. Thanks, Mariella. Thanks, Marquita. Thanks, LaDonna. All right, so I'm gonna grab my 6 and my 0. So the 0 is already selected. I'm gonna hold down Control and select the 6 as well. That's selected both of them. Let it go, click on Open. And as you can see, here's the outline for those numbers. It's behind her image because it's down lower in our layers window. I should have clicked above the image before I opened this layers, but you can always move them around. No biggie. But what I am going to do, I am going to link my numbers together by clicking on this square beside the eyeball for each of these layers so that I can modify them at the same time and that they're the same size. So all I did was click the link or the square beside the eyeball to link these two. And then I'm going to use my scale tool to scale it up. And it's going to scale both of the numbers at the same time. And then I'm going to unlink them and turn this layer off, our image layer, so we can see them. And then I'm going to use my move tools to move them to their respective places. I might need to make them a little smaller. So I'm gonna connect them again, shrink them down a tinch, unlink them. There we go. It was starting to clutter my text layers. I don't want that to happen. I can go a little smaller. Again, this is just me being OCD, y'all. But I'm all about that design life. And I'm just using my move tool with them unlinked to set them in place. And I'm gonna turn my photo layer back on so you can see. All right, so we're getting real close to a final design, y'all. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Undo. So I'm gonna zoom in because there is one more thing I'm gonna do. I don't like harsh lines for body parts. As you can see, her forearm is cut off. I'm gonna move the 6 up so that it's on top of her photo layer. All right, so that changes that harsh line. And then I want to remove this bottom part of her dress so that it is like kind of behind the lines of the triangles. So what I'm gonna do is click on that layer. If you look at the very top, it says opacity, 100%. We're gonna turn it down by just clicking and dragging in this bar at the top of our layers window for this layer. So you can see it kind of made it transparent. Okay. And we need to be able to see, we need to do this so we can see where our lines are. So I want it to be cut off at this line and at this line. See where I'm moving my cursor? So I'm going to use my free select tool. Remember that from background removal. Now that we can see the line, since we've turned down the opacity, we're just going to click. And we're going to find the line. Here's the line. So all I did was just find the lines that I wanted to remove it from. Remember, you can move points as well. I'm just going to click outside of the image now and go back to the start. This is what I want to delete so I don't have to invert. Click on delete. Select none. Now if I zoom out and turn our opacity back up to 100%, you will see that the bottom of her dress is no longer hanging over the triangles in the background. All right, let's save it. And I'm going to stop there for today. So this is a design that I'm going to send. We're going to turn our watermark back on, move it up to the top so that our work is not copied. Of course, you need to turn down the opacity for your watermark until it looks good and not overpowering your design, but still being shown that it's yours. Then we're going to save it again. It's time for me to eat, so that's perfect timing. And drink some water. Save it. And then you're going to go to File, Export As, and you're going to export it as a JPG file. And you can send this over, this JPG file over once you click on Export, and export again once it pops up. That is the file that you're going to send to your customer to get approval. So how was that training for you all today? Sharice said, okay, this is where I get lost. I'm just now seeing it, so I'm not sure what part you're talking about when you said when you get lost. So if you want to go ahead and put that in the chat, I'll go ahead and answer that for you. Are there any questions from everybody else? Let's see. Thanks, Charmaine. Thanks, Marquita. She said, Mariella says, this is great. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you. Kanita says, great. Gwendolyn says, what software did I use? I use GIMP. If you go to backdropstarterkit.com, you can go in and get all the steps that I use to set up my software. I don't see Sharice writing in the Facebook. So if there are no other questions, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off of here. And I believe our next call is on Monday, which is our Monday Monday call, which is where I start going over the business part of backdrops. So far I've done the downloading of the software, the designing, and then I've done one of the vendors to where you can print with them and get shipped for a fee, of course, but it's not, you get a reseller fee. You can sign up with them. So I walked through that. I also talked about one of the other vendors that integrates with your Etsy shops. So that means I also talked about Etsy shop setup already as well. And then the next thing I think on Monday is going to be setting up the shipping options for your integrations through Etsy and that other vendor. So if you need these replays, or if you're a member of the Backdrop Blueprint Plus membership or Backdrop Blueprint CEO tier, you will have access to those trainings. So if you have not signed up, you need to sign up, because these replays get taken down and they are then put in those respective memberships. All right. And also with the monthly membership, you're going to get the actual graphics that I used today, as well as the fonts. So that's another perk of being in the actual monthly membership. Sharice, if you are in one of the memberships that I just mentioned, either the monthly or the one-time fee one where you don't get the continuous perks monthly, write me in the app and I'll be able to answer that question for you. Let's see. Charmaine says, how much is it? So the monthly membership, where you get all the perks, is right now $36 for my birthday, which is in 5 days. So I'll be 36, so that's why it's $36. So you can go to bday.thebackdropplug.com to get that. Let me see if I can't put it in the chat. Oh no, I lied. It's bday.backdropblueprint.com. I just put it in the chat on YouTube. So bday.backdropblueprint.com. But if you just want the course, you'll have to go to backdropblueprint.com. And it's going to be more because it's a one-time fee. Sharon, I have to upload it first, son. It's nothing's been uploaded yet. Thanks for the happy early birthday wishes. Lisa, the replay will be in the monthly membership. And it's $36 right now. bday.backdropblueprint.com. Yes, ma'am. If you are in that monthly membership, you can scroll down to, I think it says bonuses or replays or something. I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but it's there. Once I put everything from today in there. All right, that looks like the end. I don't see any more questions, so thanks for tuning in. We ran a couple of minutes over, but that's fine. Y'all got some good advanced training today, and they're kind of just making up for last week when it was, well, actually last 2 weeks. Last week, that day, snowstorm knocked the internet out and the power out for a couple hours, and the week before, I just did not feel good, but I'm back. So thanks for tuning in. I will see you all Monday tentatively for the Money Monday call. And I'll be talking about more with your Etsy stores. And then the following day will be another tutorial Tuesday. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all in about a week. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.